right, we're live on that one. And we're almost live on this one. We're live on this one. All right. We're all set up. Are we good? All right. Hi, everyone. It's Saturday again. Oh, my gosh.
Hey, everybody.
These weeks are literally flying by. But we're excited. We've got some coffee.
We've got our coffee. Beautiful day here in Michigan.
It feels a little fallish, which is kind of fun. So it's good for a hot coffee today. We're actually in one of our favorite places. We were, just kind of a little fact for you guys, this was where we were originally going to be opening our first practice, but didn't, obviously. We ended up in Williamston, but we are in Birmingham. We love Birmingham, Michigan, of course. It's just such a cute city, and we like to come back.
Just outside of Detroit.
Yep, we like to come back and just kind of enjoy it. It's kind of like the best of big city and small town, so it's still kind of fun to come back here. But we love being in Williamston, so it was the perfect choice.
It was the perfect choice for us. It's a great town. We love Williamston, and we love the patients in Williamston.
So we are at Birmingham Roast Coffee Shop. It's just a really cool little coffee shop, and they've got great coffee. So if you guys are over in this area, check them out.
Right on the corner.
It's totally worth it. So we want to do another little health talk for you guys. Our whole point with doing these is to really try to help you guys take something quick and be able to just kind of change it and utilize it very fast.
Put it into your routine right away.
Just quickly, because there's so many health things out there that it can get to be like really overwhelming. So we want to make this simple for everybody. Today we want to talk to you guys about vitamin D and the importance of starting to supplement vitamin D now that we are getting into the winter months, and all of us Michiganders know exactly what that means.
The sun's going to go away for a long, long time.
We can say goodbye to sun here real soon. So it's really important that you guys start supplementing vitamin D, and we want to tell you exactly why.
Vitamin D, it's important to know just what it is. It's a fat-soluble vitamin. We've talked about it a few times on our other coffee talks. If you haven't watched those coffee talks, go ahead and go back to our old videos and kind of go through it. But basically, vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin, meaning you need fat to absorb it, and then it stores in fat, and it gets processed through the liver, and it turns into a steroid hormone. A lot of people don't realize that. It's different than other vitamins. It basically becomes a hormone in the body, and we're big on hormones.
Back to the hormones,
Back to the hormones.
It all
Once
comes
again,
back to the
all
hormones.
comes full circle. So it's important to understand that it has lots and lots of jobs besides just bone health. We've always known drink milk, bone health, all that kind of stuff for years and years and years.
Exactly.
And the reason why that is because vitamin D is what communicates calcium to the cell, right? It's a communicator, right? We need it to absorb these other nutrients in order to affect bone, blood, guts, all that good stuff.
Everything.
You need vitamin D for that. It's not that it is calcium, it helps calcium get into where it needs to go. But with that cell communication, now we're realizing that it actually helps with infection, immunity, lots of other cell-to-cell functions. So that's why vitamin D has been so big lately. So the main thing is, if you want to increase that cell-to-cell communication, you have to up your vitamin D. Now the only way to do that, and it's kind of unfortunate that this is the only way, is either through sun exposure or supplementation. Now nobody wants to take supplements, and a study will come out and say, oh, you're not getting the supplements. I remember there was a study a couple years back, USA Today came out and they said, oh, you're just wasting, all those supplements aren't going anywhere. Well, that was excluding vitamin D. Everyone agrees that you need to supplement vitamin D because we are extremely deficient in it, especially if you live in northern states like we do, when you just go periods of time without sun exposure, or if you're in the sun, it's later in the day, or you're loading up on sunscreen, which actually blocks the production of vitamin D in your body. So even though we want you to get all your vitamins, all your nutrients from eating whole foods and eating a good balanced diet, yeah, thank you, you have to supplement vitamin D. Or you have to be intentional when the sun is out and actually have decent amount of time in the sun with your areas, big areas like chest, back, legs, not just arms and face, to get exposed for a decent amount of time. And that depends on your skin color, your skin type.
And just, you know, kind of being a person that goes out on weekends and enjoying the sun doesn't really count. It doesn't add up enough. It has to be like a daily thing that you have to do every day intentionally.
And in those
that's just not really realistic
those prime
for everyone.
sun hours, which are in Michigan, middle of the day, 10 to 2 basically are your prime zones, and a lot of people aren't in the sun at that time. We're working, and you can't just count Saturday. It's not enough. And you have to continue on through the bad months when we don't get any sun at all. We're going to have jackets, sweatshirts on for the next few months, and we're not going to get out in the sun at all.
Exactly. Teachers, this is a really good time, especially for you, to start loading up on this vitamin D, because we're coming into the cold and the sick season. Parents, same thing, and your kids. Now is the time to start getting your vitamin D.
And one thing we just want to point out, you can tell Crystal and I, we don't exactly look alike, maybe with our sunglasses, but I'm very light-skinned, she's very dark-skinned, lighter hair, darker hair, so it's actually easier for me to get vitamin D than it is for her. I can be out in the sun in like 10 minutes and I am loading up on vitamin D, and then I need to cover up or put some sunblock on or something like that to not get too much sun, whereas she can be in the sun much longer. She has a natural sun protection, but that means she needs to be in the sun longer in order to get the right vitamin D.
Just remember, if you have dark skin, it takes about 10 times the amount of sun to get, what a person with a little bit paler skin would take. So, it's
you don't need to get burned. You don't need to get a tan.
Don't burn.
It's that pre. So however long it takes you to to get underneath that burn, before you start to get a little bit pink, then you've reached your max, and your body is converting that to vitamin D, and your body will naturally convert 10,000 to 25,000 international units with 1 day of exposure in, depending on your body type, whether it's 15 minutes or 2 hours, depending on how dark your skin is.
So really the key is pre-pink. Just before you're going to get a little pink, that's when you've gotten your good level of vitamin D.
And I know now we're in Michigan, so we don't really need to talk about sunscreen so much anymore, because we're not going to go to Lake Michigan, we're not going to go to the beach anymore, we're not going to be at the pool. The season is kind of over, but I do just kind of want to address it if you are going to go on vacation, or even just to put this in the memory bank for next summer. What we recommend basically, if you're going to be out in the sun a lot, is to remember that the best prevention for skin cancers and risks for being in the sun is really wearing clothing now that protects us. UVA, UVB protection when you're swimming, when you're out in the water, or getting in the shade, trying to be in the shade for most of the time, because sunscreen alone is not going to be an answer for everything. It has been shown in studies to help block squamous cell carcinoma, not really basal cell carcinoma, and melanoma. It's like 50-50 the research is out on it. So there still is a risk of being out and just being overexposed all the time, even if you're loading up on sunscreen, which can actually have some other side effects as well.
They're finding now that sunscreen is actually extremely toxic. The ingredients are kind of contributing to skin cancer in itself. So make sure that you're finding a good, healthy sunscreen as well, because you're doing it to be preventative, and then it's a pretty horrible thought to think that your sunscreen could be causing something as well.
Yeah, and get a good sunblock that blocks both UVA and UVB rays, okay?
Yep.
And remember, UVB, those are the good rays. Those are the ones that help you convert that vitamin D in your body. So that's the good sun exposure that you need to get.
Yes.
One thing, everyone's like, well, what about too much vitamin D? Too much of this? Is there a risk of overdoing it? Well, fat-soluble vitamins have always been a little bit of a concern, because some can be dangerous. Vitamin A, if you get them in too much quantities, because once something's stored in the fat, it's really hard to get rid of it in the body. It's different than a water-soluble vitamin. So there was always a risk. So the vitamin D levels have always been set very, very low. But now we're learning more about vitamin D specifically. You can increase your vitamin D, and the levels are starting to come up. The recommendations are coming up so that you can actually get the appropriate amount, because we're starting to learn that most of us are actually deficient. And if you're deficient, your bone health is down, your cell-to-cell function is down, your immune system is down.
Your gut health, it affects everything. It's a really big deal. If you're going to pick one vitamin that you really are going to focus on,
and you're going to take,
it's going to be vitamin D.
If you buy one supplement, get on a vitamin D.
Get on vitamin D.
You can't get it from food.
You can pretty much assume that you're deficient.
Yeah.
Unless
you're eating cod liver and beef liver all the time, you're deficient.
Probably deficient.
And those fortified cereals and things, that's not going to cut it either. Okay.
So no, and neither is milk. Milk is just fortified with it. It doesn't come naturally high in vitamin D, so it is not your best source.
They're just putting that
D.
into the product.
Exactly. So deficient is technically under 30. So if you get your blood tested, you're looking for, if you're under 30 or 30 and below, you gotta get it up.
And if you're deficient, remember, deficient actually means that you are susceptible to health problems, okay? Osteomalacia in adults. I mean, we're going to start seeing rickets coming back in small children because our vitamin D levels are so hard, which we pretty much thought we haven't had that around for the last 60 years.
Yeah.
So it's very important to get those vitamin D levels above 30. That should be your top priority immediately.
But excuse me. But really, to get the health benefits that you want, you are looking to go anywhere from 50 to 80.
50 to 80. That's what we recommend. 50
That's
to 80.
where you're going to get the real health benefits. You're going to have an abundance of vitamin D, and your immune system is really going to be functioning top notch.
If you're stressed, if you're depressed, if your energy levels are down, you're constantly sick, make sure you get your vitamin D tested.
It's so simple, you guys. It is the simplest test ever to get.
And remember, if, like, let's say you're having a physical and your doctor's running some blood work, it's not specific. It's not on all the panels, okay? So it's a specific test. You have to ask for it. And if they don't include it on their own, you're not going to have your vitamin D tested. So if you think, oh, I just had some blood work done, you want to make sure that your doctor added in having your vitamin D tested so that you can check your levels. And that's why we always recommend, if you're going to start a new regimen, you're going to get on a supplement, or maybe you've been on a vitamin D supplement, have it checked and make sure you're actually absorbing it, and you don't have to take it a different way or take a higher quantity to make sure that you're actually staying in that 50 to 80 zone and you're getting the good health benefits from it.
So if you are in your 50 to 80 zone, we recommend about 5,000 IUs a day. That'll help you to just maintain it. But if you're not in that 50 to 80 zone, we're talking probably about 10,000 IUs daily to get yourself into that healthy zone. Monitor it.
You might even have to go above that.
Exactly. Once you're there, then you can kind of take it down. And unless you're drinking bottles a day, you're not going to overdose.
Yeah.
It's
so don't worry about that. All the overdose studies that they do, I mean, it's like 40,000 international units for months at a time. But if you stay, 10 to 20 if you're deficient, and then and once you get into the normal zone, as you're being tested, as you're checking to make sure you're building, then go down to that 5,000. And for small children, babies, it's safe for them to take vitamin D. 1,000 international units. Go ahead, get them on that. Because babies can't be in the sun. Babies can't be exposed to the sun. So supplementation, it's a great tool for babies and small children as well.
Like we talked about it before, get yourself a liquid vitamin D. It's very easy. The one that we sell in our office has fat emulsified with it because your body has to have fat in order to absorb vitamin D. And it's a liquid form, and it's quick. It's about 10,000 IUs in one dropper full. So That's a great way to do it. We highly recommend the liquid. But just keep in mind that this vitamin D is really related to almost everything. If you're a male and you're dealing with trying to get your prostate-specific antigen down, your PSA levels are too high, take a look at your vitamin D. Make sure that you ask your doctor to check your vitamin D, because vitamin D and PSA have an inverse relationship, which means as vitamin D goes up, PSA goes down. So that's a big miss for a lot of people, that they're kind of missing this crucial part here. Infertility, I just read a study the other day that they're finding that vitamin D is controlling one of our fertility hormones, ladies. And if you're struggling with that, up your vitamin D. That'll up your fertility hormones and increase your chances for that as well. It's also showing that your higher levels of vitamin D are reducing your chances of getting all kinds of cancers. There's a lot of studies going on with that right now.
So vitamin D, the research is still new on the benefits, but we do know enough now that we have to increase, and that lots of us are deficient in vitamin D. So
Most of us.
And we know now that you really can't get it from food. Beef liver, cod liver oil, those things are just not in our diets. So it's good to supplement. It's one of those vitamins you just have to supplement.
Exactly.
And sun exposure can be a little bit tricky depending on where you live and what time of year it is. So we know right now is a good time to get everybody on a vitamin D supplement, because it's Michigan, and guess what? It's going to get cold, and sun's going to go bye-bye. That's okay. We love fall. We're Michigan people. We'll be out. We'll ski in the wintertime, but the sun's gone.
It's gone.
So
enjoy it while you got it.
Enjoy it while you got it. Now, if you do have certain issues, like maybe you have AFib, heart issues, liver disease, kidney
Kidney.
disease, consult with your doctor if you're going to increase your vitamin D regimen. Make sure they're on board with what your plans are and that you monitor it, just so that it doesn't have any adverse relationships with any of the meds that you're on, or
It can
anything
boost
that way.
some of the effects of your meds.
All right, so you have to watch that. So that's why I always recommend
Careful with that.
talk to your doctor and get tested. If you're going to start a new regimen, every 3 months, have your vitamin D tested. Make sure that you're in that good zone and what you're doing is working for you. I
Yes,
noticed
yes.
this summer, I stopped taking vitamin D and I was just in the sun. I thought I was getting enough, and I noticed my vitamin D dropped a little bit. Well, the only time I'm in the sun is really on the weekends. I'm a weekend warrior. That's when you play, that's when you mow the lawn, that's when you work, that's when you do everything. And just from the weekend, it didn't cut it. So it did drop a little bit, even though I was in the sun as much as I possibly could be on the weekends.
But
So it
now's the
wasn't
time
enough.
to get it boosted. Focus on it before the sun goes away and before we get into the winter months where people are sick and everybody's catching everything. Now is the time to get it up. If you're a patient of ours, come into the office and we are happy to write you a script. It's a super easy blood test. You can just go down to a lab and get
Put
your
on the
blood
Sparrow,
drawn.
have it tested.
And it comes back right away, sometimes the same day. So it's a really quick test. If you're one of those people that you don't want to do that, then you can order it online. You can just get an at-home test, and you'll prick your thumb and give about 5 samples of blood, and they'll email you. It takes a little bit longer, but they'll give you your levels that way, and we can always show you. I'll put the link, actually. I'll put the link below so you can have that if you'd rather do that in the privacy of your own home.
And remember, vitamin D3.
Yes. Oop,
Oop.
lost one. Getting a little crazy
Little
here.
earthquake here in Birmingham. Remember, D3, not D2. D2 is not the natural form that we get from sunlight. Vitamin D3 is. And you
Yes.
can buy it over the counter. So it's easier to even get. So
Yes.
we just recommend D3 because it's what your body converts as sun exposure. So it's how it recognizes it. So it's a great way to get your vitamin D. Well, I think that's it for today. Enjoy your coffee, get your coffee. We're here in Birmingham. We're going to walk around for a little bit, enjoy this nice, brisk fall morning. Don't forget to like our page. Get on a vitamin D. Anything else? All right.
and see us.
Come in and see us at Williamston Sport and Spine. All right, have a
guys.
great weekend, guys.
See you later.
See ya.